All right, it looks like we are now live and up and going. Hi, my name is Jacob Brady with MarketingPlayBook.co, where we teach small businesses to increase their sales and reputation online through digital marketing. And today we got a pretty good show lined up for you. Let me kind of clear my notes here a little bit, and we are set. Good deal. So today's show is going to cover the perfect Facebook ad copy and image, and it's no mistake when somebody actually gets something that's working well for them on Facebook. There's a multitude of things that go into selecting the correct image and writing the correct ad copy. And today we're going to cover some of those tips on how you can give yourself the best chance of actually getting a winning image and a winning ad copy for you. So the show notes for today, if you want to follow along, is going to be at marketingplaybook.co/episode and then the number 18. Again, that's marketingplaybook.co/episode 18. If you would like, we do have all of our Hangouts can be found. All of the previous Hangouts that we've done, the 17 up until today, can be found at marketingplaybook.co/live-hangouts. And if you just go to the marketingplaybook.co website, you're going to be able to just click on the live hangouts and find it just fine. So if you have any questions during the live call here or just feedback in general, feel free and send us a tweet. We do have it right there, it looks like, and that's going to be MKTG Playbook. And so just go ahead and send us a tweet there. Again, that's MKTG Playbook. And we have Twitter up, so if you have any live questions during the show, we'll be happy to answer them. Or if you just want to send feedback, we've gotten some great feedback from others and those who are watching the show. Greatly appreciate the feedback. So hey, keep it coming. I read them all. Yeah. So we do also have our private Facebook group. So it's still currently open. It's still 100% free. Anybody who signs up now is going to get in there for lifetime access. Eventually, I am going to close the door on it for being free. So once we get a few hundred members, we're still a ways away. But once we get a few hundred members in there, I'm going to start charging for that, but anybody who joins now gets in for free and free for life. And it's a great way and a great place to be to ask your questions in a private setting with other small business owners to get feedback not only for yourself, but from other members as well as experts in the field around digital marketing. And it could be anything from PPC, PPV, Facebook, social media, any type of strategy that you have, any problems that you have, tracking, anything that has to do with digital marketing could probably help you out, because I've been through a lot myself, and if I don't know the answer, I know somebody who does. So I rely heavily on other individuals too myself. Just to make sure I'm bringing you the best information out there that's possible. So, like I said, today is going to be the perfect Facebook ad copy and image. So we're going to go ahead and dive right on in and get started there. So when it comes to Facebook, the biggest thing for most individuals is going to be the image. The image is like 80% of what makes an ad successful. And I kind of derive that just from all the testing I've done. I've written some really, really horrible ad copy before, but because of the image, it's done really, really well. So even if you have poor ad copy in there, which is the text around the image, above it and below it, and possibly even inside it, because you can do that up to 20% text, even though that's not the rule anymore on the images themselves. You can have 20% text. If you have over that now, it's going to take away from the image itself. So Facebook might charge you more for it. They might not show it to as many people. So keep that in mind when you are creating these images. You do not want a lot of text on there. That's not to say you can't overlay images on there, because you can do that all day, but you just have to be careful of how much text you actually put on an image itself. And I'm going to show you a few examples of an ad I ran in the past. But real quick, just kind of a recap here on selecting an appropriate ad for you. So when you have an image ad, I'm way below where I was before. So let me move up, let me move down. And so like I said, images make up 80% of really what makes up a great ad. And ideally, you want your image to be extremely specific to the group you're targeting. So it needs to be eye-catching and include a value proposition of some kind, a benefit or a pain point. It needs to represent that. And you're also going to have a clear call to action, which is a CTA present for your target market and their interests. But But the biggest thing out of this that you really need to focus on is have it extremely specific to the group you are targeting. And this is really, really vital, because otherwise your ad's just not going to relate. So people are going to Facebook to be entertained, to catch up with friends. They're not going there to buy your service. They're not going there to necessarily even interact with you. So you're doing interruption-based advertising. And as people scroll down on their feed, they're going to see your image, and it's the image that makes them pause. So think about this. When you scroll through your feed real quick, what do you stop on? You stop on images predominantly. Yeah, you see some text, but when you see an ad, first you see the image, and then you read the ad copy on it. So that's why the images are so important, and you need an image that's relevant and eye-catching. So let me go ahead and share my screen real quick with you, and I'm going to show you two different images. And this is in the show notes page as well, which is going to be episode 18, MarketingPlayBook.co /episode 18. And so here you're going to see two ads. And these, of course, are technically bigger than what I'm showing here. But let me see. Can I just say view image real quick? Yeah, I have the thumbnail in there. So it's resizing it. Let me just remove that thumbnail. And so this is what the big image looks like, right? And so here I'm targeting metal detectors. And so I had an app I was promoting called Local Edge, and I was connecting people within a specific geo location. I was trying to find an interest to overlap for the targeting. Then I decided, hey, let me just target metal detectors, metal detectorists, I should say. And so I developed multiple ads, and I was trying to connect those two groups together via this app, so they'd be able to use the app to connect together and meet up or do whatever they want to do, just talk about what they want to talk. So this image targeting metal detectorists, it has a metal detector right here. I have a clear call to action in the app, a little bit of really, really bad branding there. And but look, somebody has a spade. They just found some stuff, and yeah, that's pretty cool. They found something. Yay for them, right? And so that ad image had fantastic click-through rate. It had a 50% plus install rate. So more than 1 in 2 people who clicked the ad actually installed the app. So it really, really spoke to what that interest group was. So I first developed my avatar of who I was going to target, which was going to be males who are metal detectorists, who were interested in that, as well as gold mining and some other things. And we'll look at the next ad that I have in there. And right here we have, again, here's somebody who is panning for gold. Now anybody who's kind of into metal detecting probably has the gold bug as well. So I had that in there, and it did get decent results. So I it wasn't bad, but by far this image related more to the customer. It spoke more to them. I have an action being performed inside there. I have a very, very clear call to action there, which at the time, this is no longer needed. I no longer even need to put like install app in there. This is before they had the call to action buttons, which we'll cover here in a second. And those are going to be right below your image itself. So in the bottom right image area, it's going to be there. And if you view your Facebook feed, you're going to see them all the time. And those are very, very clear call to actions. And that's needed to get the user to tell them what the next step is. What should they do next? But so the biggest thing here is first create your audience. So when you we're trying to uncover the perfect image, right? So in order to do that, you first need to create your customer avatar. And your customer avatar is going to be, it might be your gender, it might be interest-based groups, it might be location-based. So you're creating a profile that's very, very specific to a set individual. So, through a variety of targeting options, and I'll cover a little bit of what those options are. And I might as well just dive into that real quick because I have them right here. So you have your custom audiences, your age, location, gender, educational level, language, interest, relationship status, behavior, political views, connections. And so you have a wide variety of being able to really, really hone in on a specific group. And then once you hone in on the avatar, so you can build multiples of these out. So multiple of the groups, and it could be the exact same targeting group across 3 different layers, and then you just switch out the age, or you just switch out the gender. and you can test that same ad copy against those slightly different profiles, and that's really all you're doing is you're creating that customer avatar, and then you're creating an image that's specific for that individual, that's going to make them entice them more and relate more to their specific interests, their specific needs. And so that's a great way to go. And I'll go a little bit more in depth of some of those options that you have. And then really the next thing that you're going to be doing is just split testing the images. So generally what I do is I take 3 different images with the same ad copy. And so that ad copy, again, is the text above it, and below it's the headline and, a paragraph or two or a sentence or two with a call to action in it. And so I use the exact same ad copy, and then I'm just split testing 3 different images for that avatar that I selected on my custom audience. And so there, what happens is, because you have the same ad copy, it's a really, really good split test between those 3 images. And you set the budget at $5 an ad for each of those, and you let them run for a day, and you see which ones perform well and which ones don't. So if you find one that really, really performs well, then you got a winner. And from there, you can take that image, and now you can split test ad copy against that one image to get the best ad copy to go along with that image. So really, that's all it is to it, is you're just split testing. Now, if you don't get any good results from those first 3 images, then you might have to relook and reevaluate either your targeting or the image. So the targeting might be off. But if you look at it and you're like, well, no, this avatar really does really match what I'm looking for, well, then you probably have an image issue. And so you're just going to go out and find more images. And there's a lot of places to get images. I really didn't talk about this much in the written guide, but even just hiring somebody off Fiverr.com. So Fiverr is a fantastic place to outsource and get somebody to create images for you. Otherwise, there's a lot of image repositories out there who can help create image ads and images that you can use, or you can take pictures yourself. So that's another really good way of going, especially if you're doing local landmarks, which I'll get into a little bit more in depth here in a minute. So here we do have, last week we already talked about the different Facebook advertising objectives. And this is really important to understand, because depending upon your advertising objective, you might have a different type of qualifying ad in there. So if you were doing something like an offer claim, you might have an ad and the call to action would have a lot more sense of urgency in there. You might say only the first 20, so some fear of loss in there. Only the first 20, can claim this discount or this prize. And if it's a location awareness, around your business. So if you have an actual business location and you're targeting within a 5-mile range, you can have the call to action of get directions, because you're trying to drive traffic to your place. So there's a lot of different ways, and it's important to understand the different Facebook advertising objectives. And at some point in time, we're going to go really far more in depth in it. But last week we kind of covered them, so I'm just going to kind of skip over a bit of those. But I do want to quickly show you something that that is linked up in the guide, and this is going to be the different advertising options that you have. And I'll actually jump into Facebook too as well and kind of go over some of the options too. But this is from WordStream, and WordStream has put out a lot of good stuff out there. I'm a fan of WordStream. Let me remove this from the feed. And WordStream's really good. But these are some of the demographic options that you have. So you can select your age, and it can be, you can target just 18-year-olds, just 18 to 21. Everyone in this location, people recently in a location, people traveling in this location. So the language is English, Spanish, whatever language you want to target. Relationship status, so interested in men, interested in women, a single, in a relationship, married, engaged, open relationship. So there's a lot of things there. Divorced. Educational level, in high school, college graduate, master's degree, doctorate program. And so you get the idea. There's a lot of customer avatars and combinations that you can do. So you should really go through this and kind of look at it and look at all the Facebook options and see, okay, well, which one is more attractive to my group? So, homeowners would probably be one. If you were we gave an example last week of a kitchen remodeling and bathroom remodeling company. So, you'd probably want them to be homeowners, right? You wouldn't want renters in there because a renter isn't going to remodel their kitchen. At least I don't think they're supposed to. So you can target by net worth in there, and that way you're excluding maybe people. Maybe you have no customers who are under combined income of 30,000, just because your remodeling generally costs 60 or 70,000 to do. So you can do a lot of stuff like that, and then target specific industries. If you target a specific industry, you can have an image ad that's geared more towards that. More towards that industry. Same with ethnic affinity group. So if you're targeting African American, you can have African American in the ad copy, Hispanic in there, a Caucasian in the ad copy, generational, and this goes on and on and on. But new parents with toddlers. So you can see that there's like a lot of options, and this is a thing that separates Facebook from all other advertising platforms out there. It's just how exact you can get with your Facebook targeting. And that's why it's doing so well, is because you're able to really hone in on your target audience. So I would recommend you go through this. This link is going to be in the MarketingPlayBook.co /episode 18. I have the link in there going to the WordStream sheet that they did, and it's fantastic because you'll be able to get a really good view of what's going on there. So if I go into actual AdWords themselves, so here's the custom audiences. So you can create a new custom audience, or you can select lookalike audience if you have enough people. You need 100 people on your list in order to show a lookalike audience. You'll have, if you're doing remarketing and you have a remarketing pixel on there, you can have multiple remarketing pixels doing different things. I covered that during tracking. And you can have that set up there, the location. So you can say, we'll say St. Paul here in St. Paul, Minnesota, because that's roughly whereabouts I'm located. And then we see right there, it's within 25 miles. I could say current city only, right? So only people here, only people within, a set distance of it. I got the age selection, and again, 18 to 19. I can do any age group I want. I can just do women. I can just do men. I can do specific languages. And then here you have more demographics, interests, and behaviors. So if I go in here, I can hit browse. And so here, I won't go through it all because it's in the sheet. And that sheet actually hasn't been updated in a little while. So if you actually go in, you're going to find a lot more of targets that you can do. So right here, education level, associate degree, college grad, doctorate, boom, 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 boom. Go through there, ethnic affinity groups. So you have them there, financial, generation, home, parents. So I could do parents, and we can do moms if we wanted, big city moms, fit moms, green moms, and they kind of will tell you what they'll let you know what qualifications those are in. And so all parents, so new parents, which is 0 to 12 months old, and 1 to 2 year old for toddlers. So you can really take a lot of these and get a really good a demographic profile built and create a really close avatar. And so they have add a connection type. So you have Facebook pages, so people who like your page, friends of people who like your page, exclude people who like your page. So if you are trying to reach new people and you don't want anybody who's already visited your Facebook page there, or let's say even your website, you can go through that. And so there's a lot you can do. Friends of people who responded to your event. So if you create an event ad, you can reach those people's friends, because chances are if they were interested in it, then these other individuals might be interested in it. So there's a multitude of targeting options that you have there. And then when it comes to the placements, what I recommend generally is what they do is by default they have automatic placements, which is recommended. Now, this is kind of the same with AdWords when they recommend that you target all people who are interested in your target location, even if they're not in your targeted location. and I don't understand why that's a default. It's a default. Personally, I think they're doing a disservice to individuals by doing that, especially local-based businesses and service-based companies, because you're not really given the option. And so I don't recommend you actually do that. What I would suggest is you go under Edit Placements, and from here, you only run on Facebook to start. So the other ones is going to be Instagram, and then the Audience Network. And Audience Network is going to be a native ad network that works on mobile apps and websites. So it's not to say that the Audience Network and Instagram aren't good. However, you want to limit and test on Facebook itself first. That way you're eliminating all other variables. And then once you find a winning ad copy and something that works for you, what you're able to do then is say, okay, now I'm going to test on Instagram. Now I'm going to test on the Audience Network. And then from there, if you did have the Audience Network on, you can actually go through and you can apply block lists for Audience Networks. So you can exclude certain categories if you wanted from your Audience Network, and you can also exclude specific individuals, websites, domains, apps, and the like. So that's kind of what we have there, and in the Facebook options that you have. So based upon, you need to go through all those options, right? So you fully understand, okay, these are what I can target. And last week we covered the different ad types that you have. So you can say, okay, well, I want to do this type of ad type, and now let me look at all the targeting options that I have and build that customer avatar, and build 3 or 4 or 7 of them, right? You build several of your customer avatars, because one of them is probably going to work, and the other 9 won't work. So in order to be successful, you ultimately have to test multiple out, and then you have to have that image ad that relates specifically, or as much as you can, to that specific audience. And you'll find that once you have one image that works well with an audience, it's a lot easier. Things get easier for you because you're able to take that same image and it'll work on other demographics and other audiences. And even if it doesn't, you have something that works, and you now know, well, based upon this image, what else is similar to this image? What has the same imagery, what has the same concept, or relays the same feelings of emotions to the individual. So those are all really, really important things to get down. And I talked about split testing ad copy already. I should say I talked about split testing image ads. And really that's all there is to images. So you're going to create your customer avatar. You're going to profile your audience as much as possible, and then you're going to be split testing those images, and I already covered how to split test those images. So that's all there is to it. Not a whole lot, but it takes time, and it takes thought, and it takes effort to create those avatar profiles, and then to find images that match those. And when it does come to images too, there's always tips and tricks out there that you can use to try to best relate to an individual. So generally, a lot of the ad copy that I have, what I'll do is I'll have an individual in there. So I'll have somebody who's performing. I like people in my images, and it just works really, really well. And I like them to be doing some sort of action, either describing a pain point in there. If it's joint pain, it might be somebody having an expression of pain and holding their elbow, or something along those lines that relate either a benefit, a pain point, have an emotion, something that'll strike a chord with that specific avatar that I'm targeting. And worst comes to worst, put something funny in there, right? People go to Facebook to be entertained. If you have something funny, chances are they'll just like it. And even if they're not interested per se, they might be like, haha, that's funny. And that works. Funny works. So moving on, so we talked about images. Now we're going to move a little bit more into ad copy. And the process is really, really similar. So once you have your winning image, because the image makes up like 80% of a winning ad. I'm telling you, images. If you take nothing else from this call, just think about images. So next step is going to be split testing that image. The winning image you had against ad copy. And here again, I just take 3. I write 3 different ad copies, and I take them and I apply it to the winning image ad, and I see which image ad or which ad copy works best. So I'm using it on the same image that I know is working, and seeing if any of those ad copy changes strike a chord. Now there are set rules and practices, best practices, I should say, for doing that. Facebook now already has call to action buttons, which are fantastic, and you should take advantage of them. And so it's apply now, download, get quote, learn more, sign up, subscribe. So those are the main call to actions that they have. And inside the actual text for the headline, I generally will have a call to action there too as well. So I'll tell an individual something of what action I want them to take. Click here, sign up now, buy now, whatever it is. I'm going to tell them to do one specific action inside the ad copy. Take advantage of. Limited, something along those lines. I also want to create a sense of loss or a sense of urgency in there. So if I'm running an offer claim, and I might have 20 listed in there. So hurry, limited time offer, only 20 left. Only 20 available. Something along those lines that get people interested. And so it might be limited time only. Only today, hurry, act now, rush, last chance, something along those lines that create a sense of urgency or provide a fear of loss of not taking advantage of this discount or deal or some special that I have going on. So more is less. And by that, I mean, you're not going to want to write paragraphs of information, right? So I recently came across an ad, and my goodness, it was written by a male. You could tell just from the wording they were using in there. And while it was specific, it was kind of a long form ad. It was just pretty amazing. I think it must have been a boost post that they were running, but it was like 8 paragraphs long, and way too much information in there. So people don't go to Facebook to read per se. You don't want to read essays there. You want nice, short, clean ad copy. And there's a reason why most ads out there that are successful are really, really short. So they're short, they're to the point, they have that clear call to action in there, they have a sense of urgency, a fear of loss, a benefit of some kind in there. And so you don't want paragraphs. If you can get it done in a sentence, get it done in a sentence. Sum it up as much as possible. Be clear and direct. If it takes you 2 sentences, it takes you 2 sentences. That's just fine. But clear and direct. In most of your ad copy, you're not going to be able to do paragraphs in anyways, unless it's a boost post, and even then, they have to click the more button, which you don't want to do. So social proof. So I'd recommend test out your ad copy. And put in quotes, your customer testimonials. So if you have a customer who's really, really happy with your product or service, put that in there. Social proof is phenomenal. So when people actually see testimonials, and you can't do this in AdWords, but you can do it in Facebook, which is fantastic. So if you have a customer quote from your website, something along those lines, put it in there, because put it in the quotes and put that clear call to action in there behind it, and it really, really does help. So another example is if you have 7,000 happy customers, put it in there. Over 7,000 happy customers. So the social proof really, really helps. It helps to establish yourself as being a trusted person, and that's really important when it comes to social media in general. And then we have ask a provocative question. So if you did carpet cleaning, you might ask something like, how many bugs are living in your carpets? And so Facebook has really, really cracked down on the ability of clickbaiting, which is when you ask some sort of question in there just to entice the individual to click on the link. And that's not what I'm really saying to do. What I'm saying is just to ask something provocative that piques somebody's interest and makes them think, oh, what is this? And then if I did a headline like that for carpet cleaning, I would then go on and I'd send them to my website where I talk about the bugs living in their carpet, and I'm not going to try to hard sell them. I'm going to try to educate them. I'm going to tell them the different types of species living in their carpets. I'm even going to recommend, hey, here's some free ways of removing those, or make sure you vacuum off and make sure you do this and that. Hey, when it comes time for your carpet cleaning, consider us. maybe I'd have my phone number front and center in there. I'd probably have some sort of coupon page or special that's going on, and just to do that soft sell, but more important, deliver value to the end user. So that's what they're going to want. They're going to want to see some value. So if you're going to use a provocative question, offer some value and help establish yourself as an authority in the field and the like. And I covered that more in last week's and the weeks before episode 2 as well, so I won't go too much more into that. But asking a provocative question or just a question in general can really help when it comes to your click-through rates on your ads. So I've covered fear of loss and urgency. Location-specific imagery can work too well. I don't know how I said that, but can work well. So if you have something I've used in the past is going to be like the silhouette of the city skyline, and I've had it black in the background, and then I've had some other images on top of there. So people kind of recognize that. So if there's a landmark around where you live or something along those lines, you can kind of use that and then overlay an image on it or something along those lines. That way, it speaks directly to the individuals who live in that specific location. So it really helps because they're going to see that as, oh, I recognize this. So the familiarity of it comes into play, and that helps establish you as being local right away, as being knowledgeable because you know of this location. So that really helps. So a quick recap here is going to be the ad is visual, it's eye-catching, it gets the individual's attention, it's highly relatable to the individual who's looking at it, and describes a pain, a benefit, or somebody doing some sort of action with somebody in there. But more importantly, it's relevant, so that that image of that person metal detecting is beautiful. When I was targeting metal detectorists, there's somebody metal detecting. They just dug up. They just found some coins. Hooray for them, right? And that catches people's attention. And so include an enticing value proposition. So this could be anything along the lines of anything that's of value in there to the individual, a benefit, a pain point, something that entices them to click on the ad copy, and then have that clear call to action in there, which you can use the Facebook buttons for if nothing relates to you. The learn more or the more generic call to action can work, but even in the ad copy itself, I generally have my call to action in there, what I want them to do. And it could be as simple as click here, learn more, something along those lines. Will help out. So really, that's going to be it for today. We covered quite a bit for you, but go through it, and the biggest takeaways is really that avatar, right? Your customer avatar and profile. Take 3 images, split test those images, find the best one, then run your ad copy against that winning image. If you had no winning image to begin with, try another 3 sets of images. If you have no idea of how to create an image ad, or have no skills there, you can always hire somebody. Fiverr.com is a really cheap place. You can get somebody to create the ads for you in the exact format that you want for Facebook. So there's a lot there, and really, at the end of the day, it's no different than what I kind of talked about with AdWords, right? So you have your on the display network, you're going to have your different image ads. Test those different image ads out, find the ones that work, stop the ones that don't. Same goes for text ads, right? So you create those 2 to 3 ads off the bat, and then you run through those and see which ones have the best click-through rate, which ones have the most engagements, which ones actually lead to sales. And based upon those metrics, you're going to find what images work for you. It's not always easy. You might have to go through multiple different affinity groups, multiple different avatars that you've created, and multiple different image sets, multiple different ad copies, but eventually you're going to find something that's going to work really well for you. And that's how you're successful. You just got to split test and split test and split test. So that's going to be it for today. If you have any questions, feel free and let me know. I'm going over to Twitter right now to see if we had any questions that come in. No, we are good to go. So that's going to be the show for today. I hope it helps. And next week, we're probably going to continue talking about Facebook a little bit more, and we go a little bit more into actually creating an ad, and maybe even the Power Editor. So I'll have to do a show on the Power Editor just so you can kind of get a glimpse of how to do research on it. So that's going to be it. I hope it helps. Feel free and subscribe. Subscribe here on YouTube. Subscribe via our newsletter. Join our private Facebook group. We also have a Facebook page and all kinds of things like that. If you have any questions or comments, feel free and head over to MarketingPlayBook.co episode 1818. And feel free and ask your questions there if you have something specific about any of the topics that I covered today. Thank you. Take care.